The first thing you're told, or first thing I was told, was the three most important issues facing the organization were membership, membership, and membership. We were at a pretty serious low on membership.
Oftentimes in the world of agriculture, we have more failures than we have successes. And because we're still here, we know that that failure is not fatal.
Just a decade after they hit their membership high, Farm Bureau sank to a new membership low in 1987, relinquishing its status as the largest agriculture organization in the state. This was an era where we see a slim few commit to sticking and dedicate themselves to the final Farm Bureau principle. This is an era that demanded some gritty, determined tenacity, where leaders recognized that they could not allow their failures to become fatal. With a strong, unified voice and bold leadership on some tough agricultural issues, leaders in 1976 announced that the Montana Farm Bureau had reached its highest membership numbers since its inception at the peak of the homesteading rush. With 5,450 agricultural producers in its ranks, the Montana Farm Bureau could finally, truly say it spoke with the weight of the majority of agriculturalists in the state behind it. Now, stable commodity prices and booming export markets set the stage for some major expansion for many agriculturalists in the 1970s, and their Farm Bureau, well, it followed suit. Meanwhile, out in farm country, land prices were climbing alongside demand for expansion. Interest rates began a rapid climb with inflation, and by 1981, the prime lending rate soared to an all-time high of 21.5%. Farm expansion that was secured under these rates would be pretty hard-pressed to pencil as profitable once export market thinned and farm prices started their rapid decline in the early 1980s. The fallout in farm and ranch country took a decided turn for the worse in 1985, and the Farm Bureau membership started to tumble right alongside it. By 1987, Montana Farm Bureau members shrunk to 3,100 members, yielding their claim as the state's largest general agriculture organization. The organization's operating budget depended on those dues to balance, and all of its entities were now stretched thin. The organization was riding what felt like a landslide of setbacks that might have been overcome if issues had been dealt with one at a time, or if there was more stability within the organization. Unfortunately, it wasn't just these policy issues plaguing the organization. A family feud was about to boil over between the Montana Farm Bureau Federation and its subsidiary, the Mountain West Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company.
The 80s, when I came to Montana, that was perhaps the most tumultuous time the financial services industry has ever gone through. We had interest rates that were incredibly high, money market accounts selling in the low to mid-teens. And so it created an incredibly competitive environment in the marketplace.
When Montana Farm Bureau first partnered with Wyoming's Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company in the 1950s, the goal was to provide a self-help styled service to its members. Founders back then also viewed the service as a means to stabilize Farm Bureau membership numbers. If you wanted the service of the insurance company, you had to be a member of the organization. And the early part-time insurance agents and farming clients were naturally Farm Bureau members because that's who the policies were designed to serve. But as the company grew, policy coverage also expanded to meet new members' needs. They went from a country squire package to a city squire package. And this was extending protection to non-agricultural customers for the first time. These customers became associate Farm Bureau members. That meant that without a primary agricultural income, they can't vote or participate in the Farm Bureau policymaking process, but they do pay a smaller dues in order to access the benefits of Farm Bureau membership. Now, thanks in part to this expansion, the insurance company was booming. This could have been seen as a boon for a farm organization tasked with financing the growing battles of a shrinking population. But it wasn't a free ride by any means. The companies, meaning the insurance company and the Farm Bureau Federation, operate independently, but the parent organization, the Federation, structured its subsidiary, the insurance company, in order that they would receive a small commission on its sales. When Farm Bureau membership numbers started to slip amid all of these controversial policy debates and this failing farm economy, Farm Bureau members were really pinched to cover ground. They started putting pressure on the insurance agents to sell more memberships. But on the other hand, when inflation ran rampant and interest rates jumped to double digits, insurance agents scrambled for ways to stay competitive in a predatory financial climate, which means that they were looking for all options to cut costs to their customers. That also meant that they would often neglect to collect Farm Bureau dues when they would sell Farm Bureau insurance. See, too often, financial and emotional strain can cause nearsighted vision. Desperate times may call for desperate measures, but desperate people, well, they often make desperate decisions.
Leaders on both sides, Mountain West and Montana Farm Bureau, managed to get through the polarization of the issue and the conflict and seek a visionary resolution to it. And that happened, and it's obviously, like I said, been done well because the compromises that were made then still exist today, and Montana Farm Bureau is clearly the most effective ag organization in the state.
As you can imagine, this was a fairly chaotic time, and this is barely scratching the surface. There were personal issues and leadership issues and policy issues that were happening across the organization. It was not an easy time in our organization's history. Lewistown rancher Gene Chapel was elected Montana Farm Bureau president. Chapel called for a special Blue Ribbon Committee. We later renamed it the Permanent Long Range Planning Committee, and instructed its members to take a pause, step back from this landslide of problems, and get a foothold on some more stable ground. It was the start of that principled Farm Bureau process that he had been involved in for more than a decade of state leadership. The committee was tasked with, again, just taking a break, studying the organization's membership, its finances, its programs, its services, its structures, its facilities, its leadership, and external data. They brought in an external audit committee that posed hard questions. They brought in leading economists that advised this committee on its quest for solutions, and it brought in current Farm Bureau members to offer feedback in extensive surveys. Now, when Miles City rancher Don Oshner took over as president of the Montana Farm Bureau in 1986, one of the first things that he did was round up his vice president and the state's executive administrator, and they went back to the old Farm Bureau problem-solving roots. They traveled to Farm Bureau offices in Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, and Idaho to ask good questions and to learn how other states handled their insurance as a service to members. Still, there were no easy solutions. In 1987, when the third executive administrator departed in less than 7 years, the American Farm Bureau Federation stepped in and they hired a man named Leo Wagner. He was a retired Iowa Farm Bureau executive. And they asked Leo to come in and intervene temporarily and assist in hiring a new executive and help moving negotiations between the Federation and the insurance company forward. Leaders of the organization also established a Goals and Guidelines Committee that brought Montana Farm Bureau members and Mountain West Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company leaders together in the classic Farm Bureau practice of participatory democracy, where everyone could have a say and everyone's voices could be heard until they found the best solution for everyone involved. And through that, the committee established a series of acceptable compromises on both sides that would both support Farm Bureau membership growth while allowing the Mountain West Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance team the flexibility to maintain and recruit a diverse portfolio of clients.
I think that a lot of the historical issues that came with Farm Bureau was that there were challenges with leadership. It became a top-down leadership organization rather than the grassroots, bottom-up membership organization that is now. And that is our strength, is continuing to provide the value to the member. And I don't mean value in dollar, I mean value in action and in what we can produce in the form of effective change that will guide our not just our organization, but the agriculture industry in Montana well into the future.
So what do we learn from all of this? As I was reading and studying this era of our organization's history, I saw chaos all over the place. We were hanging on by a thread in so many areas. And what I saw our leaders do is refuse to allow that failure or that chaos to become a fatality. They opened the doors with humility and they asked for outside intervention. They welcomed advice. They sought solutions. They looked for ways to make progress. They took a pause and they went back to their grassroots and asked, how can we get better? How can we continue to serve?
It's really easy to get stuck in what we're not doing right and what's not working. None of us would still be here today if that was truly what we all just stopped at. Was, well, that idea was a fail, that process was a fail, we're done. Not true. You can't do that in your farms and ranches, and you can't do that within this organization. Take that kick in the shins every once in a while, especially when you deserve it, and learn from it, and be smart and keep moving forward.
We are a family, and it's special. I'm glad to have been a small part of getting the family back together.